two, three. One, two, three. Let's go.
Very special spring break edition of crypto. This is AZcrypto with MrFOMO. MrFOMO. It's an exciting time. Some people think VGX might be ready for a move. I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping, but I don't have anything concrete. But we're going to talk about some things today. A newer coin we haven't really discussed very much. We're going to talk about VGX again. We haven't talked about it in a while. The debit card's coming very soon, a lot of people. Of course, we're going to give a Luna update because Luna, obviously, it's just on a train. It's on a spaceship to the moon over the next couple of years. But I wanted to start off talking really quickly, and we'll get to a new coin called Waves, which a lot of our viewers may not be aware of. VGX started to slowly, this week coming up, mail out some of the debit cards. I want to remind our viewers, if you are a VLP member, you will be getting VGX back. And it could be 1%, 2%, or 3%, even higher when they change the VLP, probably sometime in this early summer, coming this couple months, based on the purchases. So you can, for the first time, spend your money in USDC. So as you're using that 9%, you're going to, and it has a routing number and an account number, so you can use just like a bank. You're going to be getting either 1%, 2%, or 3% back, depending on where you are in the VLP program. And you're paying off your mortgage, you're paying off your car, your bills, going out to eat. It adds up pretty quickly to a lot of VGX. What I want to tell our viewers, we're trying to help you guys out is, yeah, you're getting this cash back now somewhere below $2. But if you think about it, man, that market cap on Voyager is really low. And in a couple of years, we talked about this, we could say over and over, I think 2024 is the magical year where we really see crypto just really go up. Or we might see some movement before then, but I think that's the year after the next halving. You're going to talk about some amazing gains.
But before we even get there, look at what Voyager has coming. They still haven't opened in Canada. They still haven't opened in Europe. These are two places that just learned a very big lesson about how important it is to have crypto. You had these trucker rallies or protests, whatever, and whatever side you're on, you have to agree that crypto actually allowed them to work around the banks and work around whatever they were trying to do to freeze their accounts, at least for a little while. In Europe, you've got the crisis with Ukraine being invaded by Russia, and these people are learning how important it is to be your own bank when you have to be on the move. And so I think these two areas not yet being accessed by Voyager and then opening up after these huge events, after they've learned so much about crypto in the last few months or in the last quarter, I think you're going to see an explosion, because you get great rewards with Voyager where you don't necessarily get them in other exchanges like Coinbase. And I think that you're just going to see people jumping onto this bandwagon with us, and it's going to go to the moon.
Yeah, and I think right now under 2, I have a feeling once everyone gets their debit cards over the next 4 to 5 weeks, because they are going to do it in stages, I don't think you're going to see VGX under 2, no matter where BTC is. Even if BTC were to go back to 32, which is a possibility, I still think you're going to see VGX over $2. So if you have not got into VGX, we did an episode about it before, we talked about it before, but it's an investment right now. That's not necessarily something you're going to see a huge gain in a week. It might happen, probably not in our current situation, but in a couple of years from now, you're going to be very happy camper because of everything that's going on. There's a lot of stuff. We talked about NFTs are coming. You talked about Europe. You talked about hopefully New York even over the next couple of years. But the platform is only growing, and yes, the hype was probably a bit high for where they were, but now they're no longer this high school kid that is trying to become a pro. They're entering their rookie season. The next couple years, they're going to be entering their prime, and you want to get in now. And again, a couple years from now, you go back and watch this upload, you're going to say, man, VGX is at 45, 50. These guys were doing an episode and was below 2, and I didn't listen to them. Again, not financial advice, but we are really investing in these projects. We believe in these projects. We're trying to bring these to you so you guys can have success. And again, it does take a long time. No, I don't. There are some people that have instant success in crypto. For most people, if they're honest, it takes a couple lessons. It takes a cycle to really understand and learn from your mistakes. So if you're brand new, keep watching this channel, because what we're giving you, remember we told you about Luna a long time ago. And when we were talking about Luna, it was in the 40s, and we said, take a look at it. And it got above 100. And I do know one viewer that really benefited. I know one viewer that's really benefiting from the USDC. So if you are listening to us about Voyager, you're gonna be happy in a couple of years. So just to finish with Voyager, again, we want to remind our viewers, don't get frustrated if it's between $2 and $3 a couple months from now. You haven't seen that. Would actually be a pretty good 40% gain. But my point is that's not what we're looking at. I'm looking at prices between 25 and 50 and beyond in 2024-25. I think if you are in Luna and you are in PGX today, 2 years from now, you are going to be loving this show. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think those two coins long term are can't miss projects. Again, not financial advice or financial advisors, but with all the homework we've done, we've come down to these tokens.
I'm going to make a prediction right now that in 2025, you're going to be walking around a resort and your wife's going to have a shirt that says, "My husband bought VGX and Luna 2 years ago. Look at me now." We'll see if that comes.
I'm going to get her a bunch of shirts. That's what she have to wear that to work. I'll be retired.
But you have a token that you want to make our viewers aware of. And again, we're looking at the future. Something that might have a lot of upside is Waves. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it, Mr. Folk?
Well, Waves is a Web3 development company. It gives people easy access to Web3. They have their own what is it, programming language? I forget what it's called, but I think it's called Ride. And then they've got a few other interesting aspects to them. They've got what they call leasing proof of stake, which is just a fancy way of saying that you can delegate your money to a stake pool operator, just like any other proof of stake. So I'm not sure that that's necessarily that interesting. But what I do like about them is that they're Web3. They've got a relatively low market cap, and they are, they are an easy onboard process for the Web3. And like we've said, this is one of those spaces that you want to be into. We've talked about gaming, we've talked about DeFi, and for me, I'll go ahead and give my verdict on it. The one thing I don't like is when you see a coin that doesn't have a max supply yet, or mentions no max supply, or has no intention of ever having a max supply. And this is one of those projects. But as far as Web3 is concerned, I think they have a lot of good things going for them. They have their own programming language. They have a proof of stake mechanism, which will be low energy costs. And I don't have a lot of exposure in Web3. So for me, Waves is a maybe, because they have some interesting things going for them. But there are a couple of things that I don't like. So I need to do some more research in Web3 and Web3 companies. But I think that Waves is interesting so far.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a 2.8 billion market cap. For me, I would pass for now, but it is something that I have on my lookout list. Meaning, if it goes down a little bit, and we stay in this BTC slump, and let's say market cap goes to $1 billion, I might think about picking up some. It will be on my watch list for sure. Right now, I'm not picking up any. I feel so strongly about accumulating VGX and Luna and maybe some eGold and taking advantage of that.
I would agree.
It's gonna. I mean, I'm also high on Cosmos and Algorand. Maybe Algo is something to talk about because right now it's at a great price if you wanted to possibly look long term. But for me, It's something I have my eye on. All-time high was 41.47 back in the spring. For me, I'd want to see it actually maybe just a little bit better value. If we got, price went down to 15 or below, I would definitely take a hard look. But I just want to say, guys, don't get discouraged. Again, a lot of people are not making money in these markets right now, but I think eventually things will change. We don't know if it's today, we don't know if it's tomorrow, we don't know if it's a month from now, 2 months from now. Hell, it could be 2023. But at some point, things are going to change. The dynamics and the structure and the fundamentals have not changed. Crypto is here for the long term. So if you got in January, we started the show, and you've been a little disappointed, stay in there, because patience and time in the market beats trying to time the market, like we said. And that's what I want to leave our viewers with. Anything you want to leave us with?
And one thing about Waves that I found interesting, they have their own oracle, which is called Gravity. And to me, that is something that I keep seeing popping up. You see Cardano has their own oracle. And just as a side note, that might be, those of you who hold on to Chainlink, that might be why you're seeing Chainlink struggle to get back up, is because other companies are starting to create their own oracle services. And I don't necessarily think that's a great thing or necessarily a horrible thing that companies are creating their own oracles. I'd like to see an independent oracle if there was, a decentralized sort of a thing. But I think, as a side note, that's why you're seeing Chainlink struggle to come back up, where we all thought, it's the best oracle in the market. It's got to, one day it's got to be at 100. I think that's why you're seeing that project struggle, because so many people are coming out with their own oracles.
And I just want to say one more thing before we let our viewers go. We're gonna see the rest of the week whether we do a flip show, or we'll have a show for you, but whether it's a flip show is going to kind of depend on the direction BTC goes. You got to be prepared. For me, any BTC under 40 is a great buy, but when you get into the mid 30s or even the low 30s, if we do go down, I'm not saying we will. Really, it's up in the air what direction this moves in terms of what the Fed does. We don't know what's going on with in Ukraine and Russia, unfortunately. So there's just a lot of lack of clarity in the market. But either way, if BTC goes down, it's a great buying opportunity long term. If we somehow flip that 45K, which is a huge, we got to flip 39.6 first and get into the 40,000 range. But if we somehow get to 45, and we'll have that show, it might be time to start doing it a little bit of dancing, because the alts then will probably start running.
Right. And I think that right now there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and markets hate uncertainty, and especially the crypto market. The crypto market is super volatile and is super reactionary when it comes to scary world events or geopolitical events. And so in an uncertain market, it's almost I'm almost comforted to see it hanging around this 38, 39 level, because there's so much uncertainty in the market and it's still got that strength there. So it gives me a little bit of confidence. I know some people are feeling a little bit sick because they bought a little bit high, but I really think that this is your opportunity to lower that average cost and DCA in, because I don't know how much longer we're going to be here.
Yeah. So guys, just stick around. We'll keep you guys updated. Hey, we'd love to get more subscribers. Please share. Please hit that like button. For Mr. FOMO, this is AZcrypto. Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah.